Hi there, thanks for joining us for today's video. Please make sure that you click subscribe to keep up to date with all of our content. This will include short how-to videos, webinars and demonstrations of all of our products. Check out the links in the description below to check out any content related to today's video, and we hope that you enjoy it. So as I said, today's focus is going to be looking at creating interactive activities. So interactive activities can be created via the Boardmaker 7 editor, and this can be used on Windows, Mac or Chromebook. And we actually have over 150 templates that can be used within Boardmaker 7. Which means that they're all pre-programmed, so they've got all of the functions behind them, and we can just add our personalized content and media. They're all accessible, so any access method can be used with them. So whether that's touch, switch or eye gaze, and if we wanted to, and we've got those skills, we can actually create an interactive activity from scratch as well. So let's have a bit of a think about some of the different types of resources that we could make. So there's lots of different kind of reasons that we might want to create some resources. So the first one might be that we want to create a communication activity. So this one, for example, is all about talking around the core word go. So this is going to give us different options for talking about the word go. So go into the park, go away, or maybe go home. So this is just using like a web template, and you can see here as we click on each of the options, it can gives us some different options to choose from, and then it will fill in our word web. Now, using a very similar template, we could do something similar, but maybe this time to look at supporting behaviour. So this might be something that's kind of talking about and looking at strategies that we may use to help us when we're feeling upset. So again, we can click on each of the boxes and then choose from some preset options that we've put in there. So we've got things like taking deep breaths, talking to a friend. And again, using a very similar template, still kind of word web. This time the focus is going to be more around learning. So maybe we're working on talking about plants at school at the moment, and we want to kind of start the conversation about plants and maybe connect to some of our background knowledge that we've already got. So again, we're going to click on each of the boxes, and then we can choose maybe some of the vocabulary that we already know in relation to plants. And then the last option is maybe supporting a little bit of independence. So this is an example of creating activity where we're preparing to go to an AAC assessment, and maybe we want to kind of choose some of the things that we want to talk about at our assessment. So again, here we're just selecting our boxes and we're choosing from different kind of topics that we may want to talk about. So here we're doing things like talking about vocabulary, speaking to the speech and language therapist. So 4 different kind of reasons or kind of purposes for each of our activities, but a very similar template. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to just jump straight into a demo, and I'm going to show you a few different kind of types of templates. And along the way, I'll show you some kind of tips and hints of how to use those. So I've just opened up my Boardmaker 7 editor here. And the first thing that I just want to talk about is here it's going to be showing me my recent activities. So these are all the activities that I've maybe recently been working on. So maybe the last time that I logged in. So I can easily just find those and maybe go back and finish those activities. If I click on my Boardmaker, it's actually going to show me all of the activities that I've created. And I can either look into maybe some of the folders that I've created, or I can go and scroll through my activities. I can also at the top use the search bar. So if I can vaguely remember what I called my activity, I can search for it up in there. But what we're going to look at now is creating an activity. So I'm going to hit this green new button here. And this is going to open up what's called my template picker. So within Boardmaker 7, we've got over 400 different templates. And There's lots and lots of different types of templates in there. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually just look at interactive. So previously we looked at printable templates, and there's loads to choose from there. But today we're going to focus on the interactive ones. So you'll see here that it's given me the choice of all the different templates that we've got available to create an interactive activity. And here on the left-hand side in the blue, you'll see that I've got some different categories. So we've kind of sorted them into categories to help us kind of narrow down what we want to talk about. So this first one that I want to do is I'm actually going to go into the sorting category. And then you'll see here that it's showing me all the different options that I've got for different sorting activities. And you can see they're all kind of just variants of each other. So some simpler, some a little bit more complex. So I'm actually going to come in, I want to choose this one. So it's 2 groups and 10 items. I'm just going to select it to highlight it. And then I'm going to come down to the create button in green down here. And now this is going to open up my editor. And you can see that I've got the template in front of me. So one of the things that you'll notice when you come into these interactive templates is that there'll be some little bits of red writing. And this is basically giving you the instructions of how to kind of edit that template. So it's saying things like place the symbols in each group, and you want to put them into the correct order. But this is basically just giving you the instructions of how to fill it in. But once you go into play, those little bits of red writing will disappear. It only appears in edit mode. So I'm going to come along and I'm going to start editing this. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to click on the title up here. And I want to change the title here. And we're going to do word sorting activity. So let's put that in. So I'm going to click on group 1, and let's say we've been doing work on identifying different types of words. So my first group are going to be nouns. My second group here is going to be verbs. So I'm just clicking on those text boxes and just replacing it with the titles that I want. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. I think I just undid that. Let's just change that back up to verbs. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is that I need to place my kind of correct answers under each category. So I need to put my nouns in here. So we're going to start off just putting in some options. So all I'm doing here is I'm selecting the button that I want to fill in, typing in my word and hitting enter. And this is what's called edit in place. And I can just very quickly come in here, choose the symbol that I want, and then go on to the next one. So let's do choose. So again, type, hit enter, and I can choose from different symbols here. I'm quite happy with this first one, so I'm just going to choose that one. And then just one more. There we go. And then I'm going to come to my verbs. I'll just do a few. And again, I'm just typing, selecting the symbol that I want and clicking select. Let's do a couple more. Or I can just hit enter if I'm happy with the first one that comes up. Oops. Get that right. There we go. Last one we'll do is swim. We'll do a person swimming. We're doing about people. Maybe because this is a fairly new concept with my student, maybe I want to create a bit of a visual prompt for them at the moment. We've been working either maybe, let's say, colourful semantics or within our Snap Call First system. And so we know that certain colours are associated to different types of words. So maybe I want to put that prompt in to help them. So let's say that our nouns are all, let's say, pink. So I'm actually going to come and highlight the nouns that I've put in there. And then I'm going to come over to my properties panel here on the right hand side. And if I scroll down, there's a little section here for background, and I can change the fill color. So I'm going to come in and choose pink. It'll let me. Let's go for this kind of pink. There we go. And then I want my verbs in green. So again, just clicking to highlight them. Just do the ones that I've filled in. Apologies, my computer's seems to have frozen up there. Let's just let me do it. Yeah, there we go. So again, I'm just highlighting those buttons, coming to my properties panel. Then I'm going to scroll down, I've gone past it to background and fill. And let's just go for the screen. Click OK. And so now I've changed those colours. Maybe I want to do more than one page. So maybe I actually want to do some different groups of words. So the first one's going to be nouns and verbs, but maybe I want to do a second sorting activity of, let's say, verbs and adjectives. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this very left-hand side, and you can see here I've got this pages panel. And if I go to just above where my current page is, the one that I've just worked on, and click on the 3 dots, you can see there's an option there for duplicate. And what that's going to do is just take a copy of that second page, of that first page. And now I can come in and I can just make some changes here. So let's say we want adjectives instead. Oops. So I change that group to here. It's got a bit funny. Double J in there. And then I'm going to come and change some of these. So let's do shiny. Oops, I'll spell it right. Shiny. Oops. Oh, it's going a bit funny here. Bad. Again, I'm just typing and hitting enter. And then my last one, what should we do? Silly. There we go. And I'm going to change this background colour again. And let's say our adjectives are in blue. So again, I'm going to come to my properties panel, scroll down to background and choose a blue colour, click OK. And now I can see that that has changed. So I've created 2 pages, which are 2 different activities within the same activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So I can come up here and hit the play button. And then now I can see what this will look like to the student. So they can come along and sort.
That's right. Eat belongs in verbs.
And you can see that I've got some verbal feedback.
That's right.
As well.
Run belongs in verbs.
I get feedback.
That doesn't belong there.
That's wrong. And I can come in.
That's right. That's right. Shoe belongs in nouns.
That I've got that next button. So
good job. You sorted them all.
And I can come and do my second page.
That's right. You reached the end of this.
As I want. If I wanted to do 3 or 4 of those different activities, sorting different types of words, then I can go ahead and do that. So that's the first activity. So a really nice kind of sorting activity. You can imagine there's lots of scope for different ways in which you can use that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually save this. So let's just click on return to dashboard, save. I'm just going to save this as word sorting. There we go. And now I've come back to this dashboard. So I'm now going to show you a second example. So I'm going to come to this green new button again. And I'm going to come back to the interactive templates. And this time I'm going to go to a sequencing activity. And I'm going to go for, this one, the 3 items horizontal. So again, I'm just going to make sure that's highlighted, click on create, and it's going to open up that template for me. I'm just going to close this pages panel, so hopefully it'll make that a little bit bigger for you to see. So again, we've got this red writing that's going to tell me how to fill it in. So it's saying here, place the pictures in the correct order on the buttons above. And don't leave any blank spaces. And then here it's saying, don't place anything here. This is where the student's going to drag down their answers. So I'm going to create a sequencing activity that's aiming at supporting my AAC user to become a little bit more independent around looking after their device. So we're actually going to talk about turning their device on themselves. So turning on my, let's say they've got an indie. Again, it'd be useful if I could spell correctly. And so now I'm going to place these, place my different steps into here, but I need to make sure it's in the right order so that the system knows which order it's in. So let's do the first one's going to be get my indie. I'm just going to type enter. Now, a couple of kind of things around this editor in place. So I typed in get my indie, which is what I wanted to write on that symbol. But at the moment, what it's doing is it's giving me a search for each of those words. So I can kind of go through and search for those. But what I can do if I wanted to make it a little bit quicker is I know that I want my symbol to be of an indie. So I'm just going to get rid of those other words and just type in the word indie. And now I can see that I've got some different symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and use, let's go for this symbol. Okay, second one is press power button. Okay, so again, I'm going to just search for the word press because that's what I want to focus on. Now, something to note here is that we've got the option to kind of search for that word in a couple of different ways. So I've currently got it highlighted to search for the word press or that kind of part of that word anywhere. So you can see that we've got the whole word press. But if I scroll through, it's included things like pressure because we've got that PRESS there. We've got things like depressed, we've got expressed, I think, express. So I can change it to maybe I just want it to begin with that. Maybe I want it just as the whole word. Maybe I want it to end with that. So you can play around with kind of these different things that will help you to kind of find the right symbol that you need. So I quite like the symbol. If I press the buttons, I'm going to put that in there. And then my third step is going to be use my indie. Oops. And again, I'm just going to search for indie. But I think this time I'm going to use this one because it's switched on. And you can see now that I've got all of the different buttons showing. So again, if I hit play, you'll see that it's scrambled those up. And so now I can get my student to come and put the in the right
That's
order.
right. That's right. That's right. Use my indie is the third item. Good job.
And if we go
You
next,
reached the end of this act.
we can end that, or if we go back in, you'll notice again that it'll scramble it up slightly differently. And let's see if I put...
No, get my indie is the first item.
And so you'll notice that here it's giving me that prompt. Actually, no, that's not in the right order. So
that's right. Get my indie is the first.
Nice activity that we can do. So again, I'm going to come out and save this and turn on that activity. And so now for the third example, we are going to come back into this new button, find that interactive template. And this time I'm going to use a graphic organizer. So for this one, I'm going to show you something slightly different. So I'm going to use the example that I talked about in the PowerPoint about maybe we're getting ready to go to an AAC assessment and we're trying to kind of organize our thoughts and think about maybe some different things that we want to talk about at this appointment. So I'm going to come and I'm going to choose this list option here. Again, just select and hit create. And again, you'll have that red bit of writing. And I'm just going to open up the panel because it will say here, edit the text and symbol for the main idea, and then edit the choice bank page to provide items that the student can place in the details box. So this is going to be slightly different. And when it's in play mode, they're going to hit here and then they're going to have some choices to choose from. So all I need to do on this first page is just put in the symbol for my main idea. So let's just do this. So I'm using that AAC assessment. So again, I'm just typing and hitting enter. And you'll see that we've got some really nice symbols. I'm going to use this. Actually, no, I'll use this one. And then now I need to fill in my choices here in the choice bank, which is on the second page. So I can come in here and just as before, start typing and hitting enter. But rather than maybe thinking of all the different options and having to fill them in, I'm going to show you another way that we can actually search for some of the different options that we've got available and that can kind of help us inspire ourselves a little bit for ideas. So this time, instead of using that editing place where I'm just going to type and then hit enter, if my computer will allow, it's always when you're demoing with this stuff. There we go, of course, now it's. So I could just do the type and hit enter as I did before. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over to where my properties panel is that we've used already, but this time I'm going to click on the symbols tab. And now it's going to give me a whole bunch of different categories of symbols that I can actually start kind of browsing through. So I know if I scroll down a little bit, there's a section here for therapeutic care, and there's a whole section on AAC. So in here, I can actually browse all of these different symbols and vocabulary that is related very specifically to AAC. So I can come through and search for those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come through and start selecting some. So maybe we want to talk about our access methods. And I'm just going to click and drag that onto the button that I want to put it in. I'm going to keep scrolling through. Maybe I want to talk about kind of asking yes and no questions. Maybe I want to talk about calibrating my eye gaze device because maybe I've had some trouble with that. Maybe, let's go through a couple of different options. So you can see here we've got lots and lots and lots of different symbols to do with AAC, which is really, really good. So I'm just going to click and select some of these. Maybe we want to talk about modeling. Let's go through. Maybe we want to talk about partner-assisted scanning. So all I'm doing here is using those categories to see what's available and to give me some kind of inspiration for maybe the topic that I want to talk about. And I'm just scrolling through, and then when I find something, I'm just clicking and dragging it over to my choice bank here. So let's go into another switch scanning one. Fantastic. So as you can see, I've been able to fill that nice and quickly with lots of different ideas. What I want to do is show you something else that we can do within all of our activities, actually. If I come through, and I'm just going to highlight, let's just do these ones for now. Highlight my symbols. Oops, I didn't do something for some reason. Let's just highlight these. Here we go. And if I right click, you can see here that we've got a bunch of different options. So we can actually do things like maybe we actually want to alphabetize those. They already were alphabetized. I can do things like shuffle them up. So maybe I just want to shuffle them a little bit. Or maybe I don't like those ideas and I want to start again. I can actually come in and clear the contents. So if I select all the contents and then, oops, where's that gone? Oh, sorry. Let's do that again. Cancel. Oh, that's not what you want in a demo. Let's just do this again. Okay, something's gone a bit funny here. So let's just say that I wanted to start over again. I can actually click on clear contents here. Sorry, my mouse seems to be jamming up. And if I obviously had all of those selected, it would clear those contents, but keep those buttons there so that I could just then go and refill them in with maybe a different topic. So let's say I've already used this for AAC assessment, but maybe the next time we want to use it for going to a physiotherapy appointment. So I want to use the same template, but I maybe just want to change the contents within that. I'm going to try and play that and show you what that looks like, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a bit funny. So we've got our main idea, and then we can select here on detail 1, and then it's now going to show me all of those options that I filled in. So maybe we want to start off by talking about modeling, and then maybe we want to talk about
I need my device.
And then maybe next we want to talk about partner-assisted scanning, and then maybe we want to talk about our access. So again, another lovely idea of how to use an interactive activity to maybe start up a discussion about maybe an upcoming event. So, okay, let's click stop out of there. We're going to go back to our dashboard. I'm going to save this again. Got that. And then now I'm just going to show you one final idea. So this time, again, I'm going to come into new, interactive, and I'm actually going to go to classroom routines this time. And there's a whole bunch of different ones that we can use. These are kind of to do with attendance check and that kind of thing. And I actually want to use this sign-in template. But let's say I've never used this before, and I just want to see what this template is like and how it can be used. If I click on that template, instead of going to create, this time I can actually just select from sample. And what that's actually going to do now is it's going to open up this template, but it's going to have it pre-filled so that I can actually see an example of it and see how it works. So this is going to be a slightly different template to the ones that we've used already. This is what's called a table template. So what we've done before is fill in and go, and this is going to be slightly different, and I'm going to show you. But we're just going to click on try it because we just want to see what this is like. And I can see here that we've got some the different names of, let's say, the students in our class. And if I click
Sally,
on that,
write your name to sign in.
It's going to ask Sally to write her name, and she can come in and she can select
L
each letter to spell her name,
Y,
and then we can sign her in.
Sally, you are signed in.
And then we can go on to the next student. So I've had a look at this and I really like this template, but I'm actually going to use it slightly differently. So what I'd like to do instead is I want to create an activity around spelling some words. So rather than it just being a sign-in activity, it's actually going to be a spelling activity that we're going to do. So I'm going to just stop this and then I'm going to go into the template itself. So I want to change this to spelling words. And so because this is a table content instead of the fill in and go, I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to go to activity settings. And then when it loads, please load. There we go. I'm going to go to where it says table of students' names, which is what it is at the moment, and I'm going to go to edit content. And so at the moment, what we've got is all of those student names that we had. This obviously, because this is from a sample, it's already filled in. But if we just did this from a blank template, all of these would be empty and I could just create my own. And so this time, instead of it being student names, I'm going to do some spelling around core words because we've been doing lots of core words recently. So instead of it being the student name, I'm going to change this to core words. And I'm going to come and change the symbol and select the matching symbol. So let's go for this one because it matches my AC system. And this one's going to be, let's say, more. Again, I'm going to change this to a matching symbol. Let's choose these. Let's just do one more. Last one will be, let's say, want. This. Okay. So now I've got those core words. And if I go along this kind of table, there's a couple of different options that I can change as well. So I've got the word and the symbol, and then the next thing that I can change is the spelling method. And if I click on this little edit button here, there's a little drop down and there's a couple of different options that I can do. So the example that I gave you with Sally, we just put those letters in order and she just selected them. But actually this is a really a simple word, and maybe my students beginning to use their keyboard. So I'm going to get them to use their keyboard for that one. For more, we're going to give them a little bit more assistance, and we're going to get them to use a letter scramble. So it's going to provide the letters, but it's going to scramble them all up. And then for this one, because this is quite a new word for them, I'm going to keep it in the order that it's supposed to come in. And then the next thing that I can do is choose the level of assistance. So again, if I click on there, it gives me a couple of drop-down options. So here, I can choose things like show the correct model, show the correct model after they've tried X amount of time. So if they've done it 3 times and they're not getting it, show the correct model, or never show the correct model. So I'm going to do never for this one because it's a nice simple one for them. For this one, I'm going to do show me the correct model after X amount of times. Let's just come along here. And then for this one, I'm going to do never show the correct model. And I'm going to save that. And then what I want to do now is just change a couple of things. So here we've got max number of errors. So where I've got that level of assistance where it says show them the correct model after, I've got that set as 2, so I'm going to leave that at 2. Here I've got the text prompt. At the moment it says write your name to sign in, but that's not our activity anymore. So I'm going to do spell the core word. Oops, get that right. And then here, we're going to do, instead of you are signed in, I'm going to do you spelled the word. Okay. And then now I'm going to hit save. And then those changes that I've made are going to be saved. So let me show you what that looks like in play mode. So just ignore those names that are still there. I didn't get down to all of those. But if we click on the first word, you can see here for this one, I selected the keyboard. So that's popped up the keyboard for me. And it's going to, I'm going to spell it. I can get them to spell that out. And again, there's a couple of things.
You spelled the word.
And then for this one,
spell the whole word.
Scramble, so it's got all the letters, but just in a different order.
O R E. More. You spelled the word.
And then the last option
spell the
right order.
W.
Just like we did for Sally. So you can see how I've taken that kind of classroom routine and changed it into a spelling activity. So you can see there's lots of scope for the different ways in which you can use that kind of template. So what I'm going to do now is going to stop that. Let's save this one. Word spelling. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, let's just switch back to PowerPoint. And I just want to talk a little bit about the Student Centre. So let's say that we've created a bunch of these activities for our students, and now we actually want them to be able to use these independently, maybe on their own devices, maybe whilst they're at home, and some people are still home learning. So we're going to do that via the Boardmaker Student Centre. Now, this is available on iPads, Windows, Mac, Chromebook, Android, and Tobii Dynavox devices. And this can be downloaded as many times as you want. So you can put it on every device in the school, on every child's iPad, and it's free to download. Again, in terms of access method, it supports eye gaze, switch, mouse, and touch. And for those of you that do have a subscription version of Boardmaker 7, what you can then do is assign this kind of personalized material to your students so that they can log into their own device and use those devices there, those activities there, sorry. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works. the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the My Boardmaker website section. And here it's going to have my Boardmaker there, and I can find my activities and things like that. But the first thing that I want to do is let's say I've got a subscription version, and I've got some students that I want to assign some activities to. So I'm going to come up to the student section in here and go to student management. And here it's going to show me the different students that I've got. So let's say I want to assign some stuff to Peter. If I go into there, I can see Peter's account. I can see his username and password. I can see the activities that I've already assigned to him there. We've got this really nice QR code, which will help parents set up at home. So we can send that onwards. But what I want to do now is I just want to go and have a look at some of these activities I've just created and assign them to Pete so that he can use them on his device. So I'm going to come over to my Boardmaker, and you're going to see here all of the activities that I've just created on that editor. I've now synced up to the cloud, and I can see them on the website. So I can see these different activities, and what I want to do now is just assign them to him. So I'm going to come over next to each activity. To the right hand side, there's a bunch of blue icons, and this little one that's got kind of a person and an arrow. I click on that, and I can come in and find Peter and assign that to him. And I'm going to do that for a few of these different activities that we've just created, because these are all with Peter in mind. So I click on assign, select the student I want to assign it to, and then assign it. There we go. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like Peter to access those on his, let's say he's using an Indie. And so we're going to open up the student center on his Indie. And the first thing that we need to do is, hang on, I'm just going to come. When you open it up, you're actually going to have access to some sample activities. But because we want to use Peter's personalized activities, we're going to come to menu, and we're going to hit the login button. And we're going to log in as a student. And here's where I can scan that QR code that we've got, or if I hit manual, I can just come in and sign in manually. So I need his username. There's an institution ID that we need, and I'll show you how to find that in a second. It's available under Pete's kind of details, but there's another way of finding it as well. And I'm just going to put in his details and log in. So if I need that institution ID, if I go to home on my Boardmaker, under where it's got my details, the institution ID is there. But if you use that QR code that we've got available, it kind of just does all of that automatically. So you don't need to kind of manually log into anything. So now you can see that existing activity that Peter already had, but we can see that there's those 4 new activities that I created. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to download them onto Peter's device. Because now, once they're downloaded, he doesn't need to be connected to the internet anymore. He can actually use these wherever he wants to be. So whether he's at school, at home, in the garden, wherever. So now Peter can come into these activities, see the ones that we've created for him, and he can come and use them.
Spell the core word.
Just as we've created them.